You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Ah, the Dark Knight, as it were. A great quote. And now we can see it happening to feminist leaders like Sheryl Sandberg. This, from The Nation, for those unfamiliar, The Nation is a relatively far-left outlet. Maybe not far, far left, but it's not center-left, to say the least. Lean In has been discredited for good. To defend Facebook, Sheryl Sandberg put capitalism before feminism and democracy. Do you remember Lean In? I didn't read it, but the general idea is you've got Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook telling women to basically lean in, get involved, be active, be assertive, and things of that nature, and it was championed. They actually say right here, 5 years after its publication, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg's corporate feminist manifesto, Lean In, Women Work, and the Will to Lead is back in the news, although perhaps not how she ever envisioned it would be. This was considered like a great piece of literature for women to read, so you can break the glass ceiling and rise to the top. But now, it is evil, I guess. Capitalism. Sheryl Sandberg is now a bad person, and her ideas have been discredited. They say, just 6 months after the Cambridge Analytica scandal broke open, Facebook's shoddy oversight of user data, an explosive New York Times investigative report revealed that Sandberg, along with CEO Mark Zuckerberg, downplayed Russia's interference in the 2016 US election, ignored warnings that the platform was being used as a propaganda tool for ethnic cleansing, and engaged in its own disinformation campaign, taking brass knuckles to America's battered and increasingly vulnerable democratic institutions. God, you gotta love the hyperbole. Bravo Nation for just that wonderful linguistic art that's spewed from someone's mouth. Sandberg hired Republican operative Joel Kaplan, who pushed for a hands-off free speech approach, while trolls planted conspiracy theories that rapidly spread across the platform. Sandberg also allied with Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, heavens, who raked in donations from the company while cajoling his own caucus to lay off interrogating its executives. Is that a bribe? Consumed by global growth, optics, and near-cartoon capitalist ruthlessness. This is a fantastic article, by the way. Sandberg had leaned in, all right, and whatever feminist cred she'd accrued cheerleading the 1%'s pink revolution vaporized overnight. This is awesome. Lean In hit the market in 2013 with Gloria Steinem's endorsement and a social media campaign featuring Beyonce. It sold more than 4.2 million copies worldwide, spawning book clubs and debates among feminists about its merits and flaws. Sandberg preached practical solutions to navigating systemic bias in the corporate world. Use we instead of I in salary negotiations. Gently guide your partner to taking on half of the household duties. Her basic premise was that more women in power was good for all women and by extension the world. Don't forget, they said this has been discredited. So perhaps they're arguing that more women in power was not a good thing because now she's wrong. Whatever. Not everyone bought it. Ooh, oh my. Melissa Gira Grant called it trickle-down feminism in Jacobin. Jacobin? Well, that's like a far left, it's like socialist outlet. While Judith Shulevitz opted for Davos feminism in the New Republic. At the same time, a number of prominent feminists lined up in Sandberg's defense. Jessica Valenti argued that feminism could use a powerful ally in the Washington Post. And Rebecca Tristar advocated that Sandberg has chosen to announce herself smartly and vociferously, not only as a woman, but as a feminist. Keep in mind, all of these women are like upper-class white people. You know what I mean? It's like, for some reason, this far-left ideology is prominent among these white upper-middle-class or middle-class individuals who believe they're the arbiters of truth and justice. They are not. Last week's damning report about Facebook's actions ended that conversation for good. Jezebel snarked about leaning out. Oh my. The Atlantic chided Sandberg for actions that just don't mesh with the girl power cliches that pepper her book. And Jessa Crispin, in The Guardian, contended that feminists gave Sheryl Sandberg a free pass, now they must call her out. I mean, they should. Look, if someone advocates something and then doesn't adhere to those principles, by all means, call them out. I would also just like to point out, you've got Jacobin, the New Republic, far left, Washington Post, it's center left, but, I don't like the Washington Post. Jezebel, the Atlantic is pretty okay, the Guardian's left. The Atlantic is left too, but the Atlantic's all right. Basically, the point I'm trying to make, all of these left-wing outlets are furious with Sheryl Sandberg Barbara Einrenreich, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, tweeted, "Thanks to Sheryl Sandberg, this is the end of corporate feminism. Whatever the hell that was supposed to mean." Much of the controversy was located in Sandberg's framing Lean In as more than mere career advice, climbing the corporate ladder as a feminist cause. In a prelude to the book, Sandberg delivered a commencement address at Barnard College in 2011. She mixed invocations of noblesse oblige, reminding graduates of their privileged status and responsibility to change the world, with tough talk about harsh realities, men run the world, and sly promos of her employer. Facebook, she told graduates, wanted to connect the whole world and make it more open and transparent. Meanwhile, Facebook operates what are called shadow profiles. A lot of people don't seem to understand how nefarious Facebook can actually be. I have no problem standing in agreement with these far-left outlets as they criticize Sheryl Sandberg's phony activism. Okay? Facebook does not want to help you. They want to make money. Let me tell you about shadow profiles. Take a quick break from this. Let's say you don't have a Facebook profile. I know a lot of people say, I don't want to have anything to do with Facebook because they spy on people. Did you know that if you've never signed up for Facebook, they still have your name and your information, and they have a profile on you that no one can see? They're called shadow profiles. They do exist. Let me explain to you how it happens. Your brother, your mother, your sister, your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever, they have your phone number in their phones with your name on it. Now, someone might have a funny name for you, which is more information being given to Facebook. Because when you sign up, when you download Facebook Messenger, it says we can take your contacts and try and find your friends. Now, everyone who has your phone number handed it over to Facebook. Facebook then takes that phone number and every name associated with it and creates a profile. They then do many other things based on that information. When someone talks about you online, they add this information to what's called a shadow profile. Yes, let me say it again. Even if you have never signed up for Facebook, you have a profile on their platform. I'm sorry I have to tell you that. Let's continue. I hope that you, yes you, each and every one of you, have the ambition to run the world, because this world needs you to run it, she told the graduating class. Women all around the world are counting on you. Sandberg has achieved this goal, but it goes without saying that she's made the world worse, not better. And as I just explained with shadow profiles, I'm going to completely agree here with the nation. Years after she graced the covers of Fortune, Forbes, and Time, don't hate her because she's successful. Facebook's Sheryl Sandberg and her mission to reboot feminism. America has started to sour on tech companies' idealism in all its forms. Silicon Valley executives shield their own kids from the very products earning them billions, while the underclass they promise to connect keep clicking. And fake news about the youngest woman elected to Congress is still ricocheting around Facebook with eye-popping engagement. That's true. There is weird, freaky obsession with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and fake news exists across the board, across all spectrums. I think it would be fair to say that Alexandria Cortez is certainly ripe for criticism with all of the nonsense she spouts, but I'm not going to say that they're wrong simply because they're not being balanced. We can call them correct, but still biased, and I think that's fair. In the end, as Sandberg stared down her career, the demands of capitalism overtook that of feminism, because clearly the idea that you own the fruits of your labor can't mesh with the idea that there should be gender equality, or whatever it is they think capitalism and feminism is, because often when you ask someone what capitalism is, they try and describe some weird corporatist, corrupt system that I don't think any free market capitalist actually believes is what capitalism is. Ah, jeez. No, socialism is not the answer. Even if Sandberg single-handedly illustrated the hollowness of her very own credo, there's more cleanup to do still. While Lean In has faded from the conversation, its commercial success casts a long shadow. In dislocating feminism from its more radical promise, dismantling the patriarchy, it spawned an entire genre in its likeness. In 2017, Ivanka Trump published her own brand, Burnishing Manifesto, Women Who Work, Rewriting the Rules for Success, which copied the Lean In format by mixing personal anecdotes with spunky how-to advice, along with a resource website. And Megyn Kelly gave her 2016 memoir a similarly upbeat girl power mantra, settle for more. I am now going to conclude that this is an overly verbose article that could have been only a couple hundred words, but I appreciate... I want to say this. Who wrote this? This was written by Maria Uyahara. So I apologize for not pronouncing your name correctly, but I gotta say, this is a linguistic masterpiece. This is really artistic writing, I gotta say. I often don't like it when people write and they use these like funny, driven kind of language, But when taking down Sheryl Sandberg, the snark and like the opening paragraphs, it's just great. Like the 1%'s pink revolution vaporize, cheerleading the 1%'s pink revolution. That's fantastic. What is it? What has she called it? Near cartoon capitalist ruthlessness. I love that image. I'm just imagining Sheryl Sandberg as like the Monopoly guy. That's what I think of when I read that. I find it hilarious. While I don't agree with much of what they write about, I certainly think Sheryl Sandberg is worth criticizing when you realize that Facebook is not a bastion of the working class. They're not here to help you. They're here to manipulate you and make money off of you, and they're overall just a kind of slimy company that I don't appreciate. So I think it's a funny article, to say the least. I'm not going to read through the rest because I think it's kind of getting overly verbose, but she ends by saying, when Lean In debuted, feminist theorist Bell Hooks warned on Feminist Wire, it is this patriarchal male-dominated reframing of feminism, which uses the body and personal success of Sheryl Sandberg, that is most disturbing and yes threatening to the future of visionary feminist movement. Sandberg uses feminist rhetoric as a front to cover her commitment to Western cultural imperialism, to white supremacist capitalist patriarchy. Hooks turned out to be right. Try to pull yourself up by the pantyhose and they will assuredly rip. Sandberg may no longer lay claim to the feminist mantle, but the rest of us will be dealing with the wreckage she's made of a movement and democracy for a very long time. I want to end by saying, there's a lot of criticism to go around with Facebook, but the idea that women can be leaders of industry in a corporate capitalist system is not the problem. What I think we're seeing here is that the left is actually moving further and further left. They call it white supremacist capitalist patriarchy. That's extremist beyond what a traditional feminist would actually believe. You can be a feminist and believe in capitalism and Western values. Plain and simple. But what's happening today with what we call feminism is something entirely different. It's intersectionality, not feminism. It's really weird to me that the regressive left calls it feminism when it's anything but. You know, people define feminism as, fighting for the equality between men and women. I think that's fine to define it that way. The problem is that word now means intersectionality, not the fight for gender equality. And intersectionality doesn't believe in equality, they believe in equity. It's very different now, right? Well, there you have it. I think the left changed. I think Sheryl Sandberg was probably always a massive corporatist, sure. But I think as much as we can criticize her on Facebook, I think there's some criticism to go around for what's become of the left. Anyway, I got more videos coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around.